This is KUGAN CASSIUS Rifle TV in association with Macklinge in Marbella. It's a weigh-in here ahead of Smith Mohammadi tomorrow night at the Echo. With me I'm joined by trainer Joe Gallagher. How are you, Joe?
Not bad, KUGAN, yourself?
Yeah, all good.
Started sunny this morning, so I had to throw it down now, isn't it?
I know. So, busy night for you tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Let's just start with Callum Smith. We know about Mohammadi. It's going to be a tough fight for him.
Yeah, it is. Someone told me something about the odds at the bookies yesterday. I'm like, I know Callum's good and he's been impressive, but no disrespect to opponents that he's fought in the past, but this is his first solid acid test. He's going in as a challenger against a champion, who's a European champion, and someone who's been around. Obviously fought Shalocka, did 12 rounds with James DeGale, and obviously James DeGale is in a huge good run of form. He went 12 rounds with James. Spoke to Jim McDonnell. He'd sort of like said, listen, Chunky said the kid can hit. He's heavy-handed. So and he's in a good run of form. 5 knockouts in his last 6 wins. So yeah, it's a tough night's work, and I've drilled it into Callum. It's not a case of just rocking up and putting somebody over like he usually does. He's got to be switched on, and I think the fight with Rocky showed his temperament for the big stage, for the big fight. And he handled that brilliantly. I think tomorrow, Saturday night, same again, it'll be to do with his temperament, but also his shot selection and having to work his opponent out.
Speaking to Callum yesterday, obviously referring to the 30th of April bill in America with DeGale and Medina, Butte and Jack. Yeah. We have to see how that situation pans out, but he said he's prepared to wait for his world title shot as long as he's in the mandatory situation. Position rather, he's prepared to wait. So are you happy for that?
Yeah, well, listen, I spoke to Eddie yesterday, and as far as I'm concerned, Callum Williams says he fights Badou Jack, he becomes Badou Jack's mandatory, providing Badou Jack gets past Butte. But there's talk of Jack and James DeGale, but I just can't see that fight happening. I spoke to Eddie yesterday. There's not the money in the fight. It's not a pay-per-view fight over here, and I just think there isn't the money in the fight that both would want in a unification fight, so I expect Callum to be made mandatory, called in August, and that fight to happen with Badou Jack September, October, and that'll be it. And then I think a Callum Smith-James DeGale unification fight, now we're talking a good fight and possibly a pay-per-view fight. That's I think Sky would buy into Callum Smith-James DeGale than a Badou Jack James DeGale.
Another fight you've got on the bill is obviously Scott Cardle, British champion. Obviously, straight after the first fight, there was talk of a rematch. It's going to happen tomorrow night. Yeah. Were you always open to having this rematch with Dodd?
Yeah, listen, it's Sean Dodd. He done really well last time, the Cinderella story. And you watch the fight back and the commentators, I think everyone bought into the Sean Dodd story. Scott Cardle did a lot of good stuff in that fight, and I think the commentators and Sky were a bit too wrapped up in the Sean Dodd story, but like I say, it was a great credit to Scott Cardle for coming back, winning and doing what a champion had to. He suffered horrific cuts, 22 stitches, and the referee ruled them all through clash of heads. So I know we're not making excuses, but there were clash of heads. We've just got to make sure that the referee's on that Saturday night, because we don't want this fight to be end or stopped because of cuts. We want it to be won fair and square like last time. Sean Dodd's got a belief in himself now that he's mixed at that class, and Scott Cardle's got to come back and redeem himself. It's a fascinating fight in the fact that Sean Dodd before went in there thinking he could do it, and after being in there he's coming in thinking, nah, I can do this. Scott Cardle's got to stop that and not let him grow in the fight and grow in confidence. Cardle's got to come out there and box to the best that he can be. And the significant thing last time is Sean Dodd hit Scott Cardle with everything. Cardle didn't go down. Cardle hit Dodd and Dodd went down. And I think, regardless, I think Cardle carries the power to end this fight. And there was moments in the fight early on that Scotty caught Sean. But like I say, the rematch it's on, really looking forward to it, and it's a good fight. And like I said at the presser yesterday, the British title, although fighters going for fighting European and Worlds, that British title is a beautiful belt. You've seen Jose Burton in Manchester win it, the effect it had on him and his family, and poor Nick Blackwell and Chris Eubank, the fight they fought last week, and now Scott Cardle, Sean Dodd. That the British title, when you get 2 good fights, it just shows. And like I say, Eubank, he wanted to fight for it before he went further, and that was the same with Callum. He wanted to fight for it before he went to the next step, and all the fights, him and Rocky, it was great. You can't beat a good domestic fight for the British title.
Luke Campbell stated after his win over Gary Sykes last weekend that he wants to fight for the British title.
Changed his mind.
Can you see that fight happening?
No, I can't. No. As far as I've always been told, and been told by Eddie Hearn, Luke Campbell was always going the WBC route, the international belt. And Mendy, and from what I've been told, they've got to make the Mendy rematch. And I think if Luke wants to, I don't think Luke should be thinking about changing lanes and go, and that route's a bit too hard, I'll try and go this route. I think it's a case of, well, no, you've had your setback. Do what everyone else does, dust yourselves down and go look at Rocky Fielding this weekend. He lost to Callum Smith, but he's dusted himself down and gone, I'm going back in the firing line. And I think Luke Campbell, the obvious fight for him is the rematch with Mendy to put things right that went wrong that night and wipe the slate clean. It is to me, KUGAN. What do you think?
Well, yeah, I understand what you're saying. Just going by the comments he said in his post-fight press conference after his win over Sykes.
Everyone gave him a stick for not fighting Braders Prescott again, and people thought that he should have done that to set the record straight. But I just thought it was a close enough fight, and I'm sure Luke he'd be itching to, I'm going to put that right. And the fact that he isn't talking that, I think, does he really believe that he can beat Mendy?
Just moving on, someone who won't feature tomorrow night is Paul Smith.
Yeah.
Who
gutted, absolutely gutted, absolutely gutted.
Just explain to me why, Joe.
Yeah, Paul, listen, training went well, everything else. You seen him yesterday, turned up at the presser. John Wishdub signed Paul up, came up to me and went, not feeling the best, I went, why, what's up? He said, being a bit bunged up, feeling a bit of the shivers and all that. And John Wish said to him there and then, he said, do you feel be all right for Saturday? And Paul went, yeah. I'll just finger. He's in the gym last night, did well, pads, everything else. Got home, got a text this morning, Joe, not slept, stayed in the hotel, shivering, cold, I'm just not up to it. He says, I've been around enough to know when I can fight and when I can't fight. It's a 6-rounder. And Paul's itching to fight, I'm itching for Paul to fight. He needs to fight, he needs to win. It's been a long time out of the ring, and also after 3 hard fights, I need him back on the bike, back on the saddle and going again. It was important that he fought on this bill in Liverpool and in Manchester to get him going again. I'm so gutted that he hasn't, because it means we've got to wait till May now, so I sent him straight to the doctors now to go and get diagnosed, checked out and see was it a viral infection, a cold or flu or whatever. But I'm so disappointed, and it's gutting, because he had worked hard and he had trained hard for this fight. But people you've seen last weekend, it's like you don't take chances, you just don't, you're putting your life on the line.
But he will feature on Anthony Quadra's undercard? Yeah,
that's the plan. He was due to fight on this and on that, so just a shame now we got them 2 quick fights. And like anything you see when people come back, Martin Murray, Matthew Macklin, it's just George Groves at the moment, it's just a case of getting back and everything else. And for Paul, he had 3 tough fights and 3 tough camps there with 2 Abrams and Andre Ward. He mixed up it's a chance for him to get back and get his confidence again, feel good and fall in love with the sport again.
We heard from Frank Warren on BoxNation yesterday that Liam Smith's been ordered to fight Austin Trout.
News to me, last time I heard, Austin Trout was fighting Charlo.
Okay, just watching Frank Warren on Bunce's Boxing Hour yesterday, he just said that they were working on that. Direct from Frank, that's what he said.
No problem. I spoke to Liam Smith. Liam Smith's in America, has been in America at the wild card, and he said there's an opponent being, 1 or 2 names being bandied about for Liam to fight over there, and Austin Trout wasn't one of them, so we'll have to see and find out. But yeah, I thought, as far as I read a few weeks ago, Trout was fighting Charlo, one of the Charlos, and I think Cotto's is mandatory.
Okay.
So it's news to me, KUGAN, but there you go.
There was also talk of an offer for Liam Smith to fight Kell Brook. Know anything about that, Joe?
No, as far as all I'm aware is from what I heard yesterday, did Frank offer Eddie a fight for Kell? I
believe so. That's what Eddie's saying.
And what's Eddie said back?
I don't know, to be honest. I didn't speak to him about it yesterday, but I understand that is the situation, that an offer or talks was had for that fight.
I understand it, and listen, that's Frank, and Frank's the promoter and Daniel's the manager. But for me, as a trainer's point of view, and Liam's worth with that belt, if Eddie Hearn wants to put a check on the table for £1.5 million for Liam Smith to fight Kell Brook, I'm sure Liam Smith, Daniel, Frank, myself would all go, we'll take that. I think Liam Smith's got one of the hot titles in world boxing, the light middleweight, is in a hot division, and with obviously the talks of Canelo falling through, his name being in the frame for Cotto, Kell Brook and Eddie saying that they can move up and clear up at 154. Liam Smith texted me from America saying, tell Eddie no he won't, put his money where his mouth is, and I thought I'd do business, and I think get and speak to Frank, but that's the type of money, minimum for Liam Smith for an open air fight, minimum, if not more. Obviously Kell Brook, he can move up, he's still welterweight champion, he can come and fight Liam Smith if he wants to do it on BoxNation or Eddie wants to put it on the Sky, but I think you need to be talking that money that I said and more, but I'll leave that them to negotiate, but it can never be no less than that.
Okay.
What do you think?
I think it's a good fight, but I understand what you're saying. Yeah, numbers have got to be right for both parties, and but I think it's a good fight.
And I'm not most probably undervaluing or underselling, but you just put me on the spot there, and I just thought top of my head for Liam Smith and the belts that he's got. Well, in America, the world champion, you want to fight a world champion, and Liam is the kid. You're looking at $3-4 million. Liam Smith's world champion over here. He's got to defend against Kell Brook unification. Got to be a minimum 1.5, even 2 million. But I'll let them boys, they do the figures and work it all out. But that's minimum. Brook's the challenger, Liam's the champion.
Okay. Just want to finish off by talking a little bit about Nick Blackwell. You made reference to him in the press conference yesterday. Currently still in hospital. We're sort of waiting news of when they're going to wake him up.
Yeah, I heard reports that say that did it not happen that yesterday?
I haven't heard. I mean, listen, things can change at any minute, but I haven't heard so far. What's the time now? It's about 12 o'clock today.
Yeah.
So, but it was a tragic situation, wasn't it?
It was horrible. I was watching the fight at home. Obviously, the lads were up from the gym, were all texting, "Oh, what a fight this, what a fight that," and then I think there's been this is the fine line in boxing. A lot of people have been talking this week about boxing being banned. Did Gary Lockett do the right thing? Did Vicar Lachlan do the right thing? And this is the fine line, KUGAN. Howard Foster got slated for stopping Groves Froch. Froch was about to hit him with a right hand on the back of his head. That could have, in that sense, put him down on his back and put him in hospital. All right. Victor Lachlan, as soon as that swelling came up, which looked like a possible hematoma, stopped the fight and brought him to the doctor to examine it. What more can they do? Gary Lockett, I messaged straight away, because Gary would be distraught, I'd be distraught as one of my fighters. I went up through that situation when John Murray, when he had a big hematoma early on in his career. And then it was also on the opposite side when Anthony Crolla, I'm seeing poor Kieran Farrell stretchered out. And it's horrible, because you get caught up in the sport. And I've always said, and you know me, KUGAN, we're in a sport which you can label as legalised killing. And it is, and there's people give stick and keyboard warriors and saying, oh, he's a bum and he's rubbish and all stuff like that. But you don't know when the punch has got to be the last punch, and it doesn't have to be a world title fight. It could be a 4-rounder, it could be a 6-rounder, and that's why you hear they say that I'm a nightmare, and everyone's a nightmare, because I want the most money for the fighters that I can do, because you don't know when it's going to be. I see now there's people, I think David Hayes done something, and a few people are on about contributing.
Adam Etches,
yeah. So just thinking, but the heart goes out to Nick Blackwell, his family. I hope he has a speedy recovery, and I just think to myself, the changes that we have in boxing that have made since the Michael Watson has helped these situations to stop them being worse than what they could have been. Does that make sense, KUGAN?
Yeah.
He was out of there, and God bless him, and touch wood. And listen, I feel for Gary Lockett as well. Do you know what I mean? It's he must be really upset and questioning him, doubting himself. And I just say, listen, don't beat yourself over it. You trust your instinct. And Gary Lockett's a good man, and he shouldn't beat himself up in them dark moments. Gary
Lockett, very experienced, and no one knows him better, knows Nick Blackwell better than Gary Lockett in them situations. Yeah. We've seen Gary Lockett sort of pull fighters out before. He'd done it with Gavin Rees and Broner, etc. But you as a trainer, if that was your fight in the end the other day, how would you have sort of dealt with that situation, Joe? Or was it hard to say?
Well, it's hard, and I've been there because a game plan, and their game plan, as you could see, was trying to get Eubank down the straight. Chris absolutely came out, I think it was 7 or 8, put a right, absolutely assortment of shots together, really went for it early on in one of the rounds, and he came through it, but that was always the plan, to get him late. And when John Murray fought Brandon Rios, and Brandon Rios failed the scales, and we thought, we'll get him down the straight, and I think it was round 8 or 9 at the end of the round, John caught Rios a body shot. Now John's eyes were beginning to mask up, and Rios go, oh, and I thought, do you know what, we could still do this. He's feeling the shots, and we've all looked back in them great fights, your Carrales, your Castillos, I thought great fights. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But they were allowed to carry on, and that corner, was Murray Rees going to be that? It was level up to 6. Then we were getting beat a little bit, but then John sort of like made an impact and we thought, bang, we've got him, he failed to make the weight. That starts going in your head. Then obviously he got stopped and everything else. So I'm sure Gary Lockett must have thought, Eubank's tiring a little bit. Nick, come on now, you're rallying him, this is what we've worked on. And that was the game plan, but I do feel as soon as that swelling came up, there was a point there where you're going, listen, we're behind here. That's not helping our vision, our line of vision. Maybe because you look about, and I'm sure as the round was going on, Gary was thinking that anyway, but I don't think he could have done any more than what he did. Yeah. And if that round didn't end in success, I'm sure Gary, and I don't think Gary would say it to say, be a martyr and say, well, he's got to stop it, but I'm sure Gary's mostly thinking, Joe, 9-10 rounds there, and Joe, fair play to Eubank, he ain't tiring, that swelling's going, I've got to stop it. But I don't think Gary would ever come out and ever say that, because people say, oh, you're only saying that now. But I do think he most really was thinking that, because I most really may have been thinking that. But like you say, it was a great fight and a credit to both of them. But I don't buy into the Eubank was telling him to not hit the head to save it him. The round before he was telling him, don't leave it to judges, you have to take him out. And yet around later he says, right, we can't take him to the head, hit him to the body. And being old school, he's most really thought in that, Chris, kill the body and the head will fall, do you understand? Take a little bit more life out of him, drop the hands. Nothing to do with protecting him, understand? So, yeah, there you go. But fair play to you, Eubank, he's some fighter, and fair play to Nick Blackwell. What courage, what heart, what chin, and how far he's come from where he fought Martin Murray to where he was on Saturday night.
Absolutely. Well, we pray for some positive news.
Yeah, definitely.
Either today or tomorrow, and we said it's a horrible situation, but this is boxing, and these things can happen in any fight.
And KUGAN, not only that though, it's a timely reminder for fighters to do the weight right. Not saying Nick Blackwell didn't, to do the weight right, look after things, don't cut corners, and also to the managers who are negotiating for the fighters and agree to take less money, and also for the promoters to think, hang on a minute, we're not getting punched in the head there. When you're promoting the show, make sure that that kid, when he leaves that arena, has been paid enough for his work. It's a hard sport, and the trouble is with Sky and everything else, football is the driving thing with money, and the TV companies have got to recognise these kids for the entertainment. Must have been brilliant viewing figures, Channel 5, because I know everyone was watching it. I don't think, and this is no respect to Eddie and the Matchroom Sky, but I don't think anyone was watching Brooke. They're all watching that fight or waiting until it ended anyway, do you understand? But you've just got to realise they're putting their lives on the line when they're going into battle for the entertainment for everybody at home, and they should be paid handsomely for. And that's where you get people arguing with pay-per-view. Well, it's like, what do you mean pay-per-view? But they're putting health on the line. It's like that big heavyweight, Abdullayev or whatever, he's absolutely ruined. And what was he on for his fight? Not much, and they try to raise money and sue everyone and everything else. And same with boxers. Don't know what Nick Blackwell's purse is, do you know what I mean? But the pay scales haven't improved that much from 20 years ago for British titles and things ago. We've got to move and start going forward. Promoters, managers, most of heart attacks saying that, no, well, we can't do it, you find the revenue. Well, promoters, we need to get out and do it more, sell it more, and get it going, and to raise the money and the funds to pay these prize fighters. That's what they are, they're fighting for the prize, and the prize, the risk has got to be worth the reward. The reward has got to be worth the risk, sorry.
Okay, Joe.
Sorry, KUGAN.
That's all right. No, that's all right. No problem. I think we're going to head off to the weigh-in now. So, if everything's all right there.
I hope it's a quiet affair than the presser yesterday.
Yeah.
Jesus, it's not even fight night, and they've had it 2 days beforehand. I'm like, oh my god. Anyway.
All right, Joe. Listen,
cheers,
we'll catch up with you tomorrow night after your fighters have fought. So.
Brilliant. All right,
all
thanks.
Right.
All right, KUGAN.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you.
Thank you.